do that. I just take it off nicely. I use it. Okay. And then now you're gonna take it. Scary stuff. Thumbs up. Cool.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show.
Alright, today we're gonna do a quick video. This isn't a big like job by any means. It's not like a big scary job, but most cruisers out there, I figure this might be a beneficial video. Most cruisers out there are running old diesel engines, even new diesel engines, but have a routine valve adjustment. Sure, most people, most cruisers have heard of valve adjustments. I don't know if you're doing them yourself or paying someone to do it, but I figured I'd do a quick video. I'm just doing my routine one. I also know a lot of people don't do them, and it's really beneficial. I mean, a real good valve adjustment, actually you can hear it idle better with a valve adjustment. I mean, it's a lot of people don't do it. So figured I'd make this video just for fun. I mean, this is just one of the routine thing, but I wanted to show it because if there is people out there who are maybe paying people to do this, I want to show you how simple this is. It's not a scary thing. You're not tearing into your engine. You're just pulling a cover off, making some adjustments. It is, no matter what anyone says, I'm sure people are in the comments. Oh, I'm sure. This is a ballpark. Okay? So, you do want to get it good, right? But I'm just saying is it's a feel function, right? You're going to use a feeler gauge. All you need to do is you need a feeler gauge, a flathead screwdriver, and a wrench to loosen the lock nuts. For us, that's a 14 mil or 9/16. So every diesel engine has a variant, kind of, but most of them are going to have, let me back up. So if you don't know what a valve adjustment is, you're not actually adjusting the valves in the engine. The valves are what? Open and close, and let the exhaust out, let the fresh air diesel in. You're not actually adjusting the valves. You're adjusting the points on top of the valve where the rocker opens the valve. So what that is if you have it loose, you're not going to get as much valve open. You're not going to get as much flow. If you have it tight, you're going to hold valves open, which is really bad. You're going to lose compression, stuff like that. So this is getting it in there. So you just are trying to, you're going to take a feeler gauge and you're going to slide it through and check the clearance so that the rocker arm is not holding the valve open or not opening enough. Okay, so that's all we're doing today. We're doing a quick adjustment now. Secondly, I've heard people talk about cold adjustments, hot adjustments, okay? You always adjust them hot. And when I say hot, don't bring the engine to temp, shut it down. Run it for a while at temp. Let it heat soak. Heat soak is like, it's different between the coolant being up to running temp and the whole block heat soaking, all the cast iron being just warm temp and the coolant being warm enough and actually soaking this engine. So engines and boats are working constantly. It's not like a car where you get on the highway and you click overdrive and you just cruise. They're always plowing. So you want to get this thing hot and mimic that. If you set your valves cold, things expand, and that tolerance you set will tighten up when you really heat soak this thing, right? So you want to get all the cast iron hot. You want to shut the engine down to where you're touching the engine and it's warm. You know what I mean? Everywhere's warm, not just the coolant, but I mean anything on the engine. It's heat soaked the whole thing, because that's the kind of condition you're going to get when you're running this long term. You want those critical valve adjustments when you're plowing out of the way. You don't want it to run those criticals to be set perfect at idle because the motor's not working. So just something real quick. There's kind of varying information. So that's how I do it. I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm going to show you my way to do it. And just, yeah, if there's anyone out there who's like, this is something you, like most, probably just don't do, which you should, or you're paying someone else to do it. I mean, labor time, even for a quick job like this, it still adds up. So I'm actually gonna have Steph do it today. She's never done this before. This is kind of a good thing to show you instead of me just bursting through it and making it look easy. She's gonna show you anything she struggles with or doesn't understand. She's gonna ask questions and stuff like that. So hopefully it's kind of cool video. You know what I mean? If someone doesn't know how to do this, they just bought their first boat, this is a good little one they can watch and you can totally do it yourself. Again, it's kind of a feel. So you're gonna use a feeler gauge, but you're just gonna get it pretty close. So don't be afraid to jump in and do it. You're not going to hurt anything if you adjust it wrong. despite what everyone says. It might just, you might lose, not gain as much performance as you were going to. So yeah, so we'll do a quick little video and we'll see if you like it. Cool. I mean, we're just doing kind of a service day and figure we'd include everyone in on it. So here we go. Here's the mechanic today. There's Steph, assistant. So we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna kind of walk through what I'm gonna have her do it. So first thing, again, if for this and further, I'm gonna do this video as you've never done this before. If you're watching, you've already done it and you just feel like watching a video, good on you. But I'm gonna do this as if you've never worked on an engine before. So valve cover. Every engine has a valve cover. It's just as it sounds. Covers your valves. Tin. Always have bolts. Make sure you get them all out. If you've never pulled it off yourself, be nice. As you don't want to rip the gasket. If you are near a place you can buy another one, replace it. I don't do that. I just take it off nicely. I use I prefer the rubber gaskets, but they only have corks for these that I've found. If you found Lehman rubber gaskets, let me know. And I actually RTV it to the valve cover so I can pull it off without the gasket flopping over myself. So here's the valves. You have intake, exhaust in each, obviously, cylinder, okay? I shouldn't say obviously, but each two is a cylinder. And you can see these are different heights. One of them has a top hat kind of on top of the valve. And it'll go, this one specifically is the taller ones with lift are exhaust, intakes are the shorties. And intakes have the top hat thing on them. So the best way to do it is just to look at your runners. This one's a little harder because it's all in the same size and it's all the intake exhaust is one unit, but just follow whichever valve goes to your exhaust port and then whichever intake, and then you'll know. So the adjustment we're adjusting is this movement here. So how much this moves up and down. Okay, so the trick is you just got to get these in the right position to where you can get an accurate on both. See, this one feels a little loose right out of the gate. So I did adjust these when I did the motor. If you look in a previous video, if you get bored, the whole motor got torn down, so I'm doing a premature valve adjustment. We've got like 50 hours on the engine since we tore it down, so I'm just doing a premature retorquing the head and doing a few little things just because it was all apart. So we're going to set it in today and get started, and I'm going to show you, first thing you need to do is look up valve lash clearance. In this case, it's 15 thou and 12 thousandths of an inch, 15 thousandths and 12 thousandths of an inch. So what you do is you get a feeler gauge, and this one's seen some stuff, but it's a good one. The angled ones are really nice. If you're gonna go grab one, these are cheap. Angled ones are nice because you can get in here. And what you wanna do is we're gonna get into it more, but you're gonna set these, and you're gonna loosen these little lock nuts here. You loosen them and you basically tighten and loosen. Once you get them into position, and you want to slide this under here until there's just a little drag. You don't want it to grab, you don't want it to rattle around in there, you just want a little nice smooth drag. And that kind of hand feel takes a little bit of practice, but you do it a couple times, you get the gist of it. So we're going to basically put these all in position to where both valves are completely closed. So it's going to be 1, 2, 4, 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 4, 3 is a firing order. It's kind of a weird one. So what we'll do is we're going to set the compression stroke, and then you follow your valve adjustment. Now some people go cylinder to cylinder, which is a lot of time of rolling this engine over. So what I do is I'll start on the compression stroke, do the first one knowing that after that 1 will compress, it'll go 1, then you set this one, then the next compression's 2, then the next one's 4, and the next one's 3. So that way, some people do the bounce around game because they want to do it all in order. That's a lot of work, and I don't want to bar the engine over that much. So I know I'm kind of going through this quick, but we'll show you. So that's it. Find your firing order. After that, we're going to bar the engine over, and what you'll do is it sucks in intake first, so it'll open, and then after it sucks in intake, you'll see the exhaust open, and then it'll shut, and then you keep rolling it over until you start to see the intake open again to suck in fresh air. And when that starts to open, you back it right back off until they're both loose, and you want them both totally loose. And once they're loose, that tells you that both valves are open. So that's just kind of by knowing. You want to wait till the intake just starts again, because you know it only opens the intake after the compression cycle. So once it starts to open, back it off, and now you know you're on the compression cycle. Some people go through the work to set each piston at top dead center. You don't have to do that. As long as it's somewhere in the compression cycle where it's got 2 sealed valves, then you can do this adjustment. So again, If you read a book, most books will tell you set top dead center and do every single one. Really time consuming. So I'm going to show you my way, which is the way I'll do it. It's quicker. It works actually better than trying to set because there's more purity in it. You're setting it when it's in its compression stroke, which is where you need it to seal. So anyways, we'll get started. Enough rambling for me. And get ready to go. All right, so well, first thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to bar your engine over, and I'm gonna be the bar guy.
Right here?
Yes. So you're gonna have to roll your engine over. I got this big wrench. You just want to put it on the crankshaft nut, and you always turn it over, tightening. Obviously, if you go lefty-loosey, you can knock your crankshaft nut loose. So you're gonna roll it over and watch the valves. All right, so we had exhaust out, intake open, closed. So now we're on compression stroke. Everything now, it's under full compression. These, all intents and purposes, should be loose. So take your feeler gauge. And intake is, what spec's the intake?
15.
15.
And where does it go?
So you take the 15 and you're gonna put it in between this top hat here and this. So see how tight that is?
Yeah, it won't even go in.
Yeah, so that valve is too tight, which is interesting. So that's
What do I do?
what you want to do. You want to grab your 14 mil and you want to use the open or the closed end. Sorry, put that over here. Okay, it's going to be tight, and then I want you to take the flathead and I want you to hold that because you don't want to lose position. So the flathead spot is actually the part that's setting your clearance. This is just a lock nut. So you want to break this loose, watching your knuckles because it's a knuckle ripper.
Okay.
Break this loose, lefty-loosey, while holding this in the same spot. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I need a cheater bar.
Oh, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're gonna do...
Do I just have to do that one loose?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
now what you can do too, this little hack is that I do sometimes, is if you want a better hold, I use a small screwdriver and you can come in sideways too, if you really want to hold it too, if you have a hard time, but hold that. So what you want to do is you want to loosen this thing like 1/8 of a turn. It doesn't take much. Okay, so just loosen it a little more, there you go. Then you do one of these. Okay, and then now you're going to take your feeler. See, it's too tight, so loosen it again. Just like another 1/8 turn. It doesn't take much with these. Okay, I will loosen a little more. You actually want to go past, kind of give it one of these, and then a little more. A little more. All right, keep going. I had you over, okay, I should explain. I had you over loosen it to let it relax, and then you come back tighter.
Okay.
So loosen it past to where, okay, so that's right there. I'm gonna loosen it just a little bit. It's just a back and forth game. You just want a little resistance. Let's see, it looks like it's grabbing a little. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your angle, because it almost looked like your hand was up a little. You want to make sure there's no tension.
Okay.
Might be, there we go. That's exactly what you want. You just want a little drag. Do I feel that? And this is where it's going to get kind of interesting. Okay. So you feel that? So set this guy here. Now you're going to put the wrench on here. Oh, see? I just fucking did it. You're going to put the wrench there first. Now put your flathead on, and you want to hold the flathead in place while you torque it down. So you want to tighten that down. It's going to want to spin that flathead. So you hold that firm, and then you give it a good wrench. All right, that's good. It may move. It does. Happens quite a bit. It's actually good. So what I'll usually do, it's actually really good. Let me see that wrench real quick. Just check. Oh, it's actually good. Tight, good. And you can get pretty tight with those. You don't want that coming loose. So that's 15 on the intake. And that's a good set right there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do one of these. Make sure it's all the way in its bucket. Yeah, so go ahead and check that. Get kind of hand feel. Hand feels everything as a mechanic. I actually can set torques and check with a torque wrench and be within 5 pounds. hand feel's a big one. Okay, so that one's set. So now instead of doing the pressure like you would in a normal one, that one's set. Now we now know this is loose too, so we can go right to this one. So you try the 12 in that one.
Yeah, this one's tight too.
Tight.
It's not as tight as the other one, but it's still tight.
I did set them a little tight, but probably should always go from the front side too. Yeah, that's perfect. So just double check. I'll rattle them around. Do a final lock. I don't. Here's your wrench. So that cylinder one's done. So you can see this one, this intake on number 2 is already compressed. So we just have to roll that over until it uncompresses. And then we know we're on our compression strategy. Because these two fire right next to each other. So once that lets up, I'll usually bar over just a little bit just to be sure. Okay.
Yeah, that one's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that one's good. Okay, so we got lucky there.
This one's super tight.
And this one's really tight. So I put this engine together. I did set them up a little tight. New engine. Figured everything kind of set in and let up a little bit, but I was wrong. So those are definitely on the tight side. Huh. Okay, so let's back that on. Fix your husband's mistakes. You're getting your hand feel really good. I'm not busting your knuckles. You're wearing me at that. So never go past, because we want to relax everything. So actually turn it.
More?
Yeah, keep turning it. It can go. You actually almost want it to be too loose, and then we'll come back to tighten.
Okay.
There we go. Now you can start coming back to tighten. So make sure you're on 15 for our intake. And just do the double hand thing. And I like to do these valve adjustments, like I said, when I said hot, I like to do it when it's uncomfortable to touch, just to make my life more miserable.
You can check it.
Okay. Alright, so we have 1, 2, now we have 4, 3. We're firing order right now. But. And you can see here that this intake's already doing its business. You see how this intake's doing the job now too? So that, if you watch what's up front of it, the cylinder in front, it tells you if you're on the right, you know, you're on the right firing order. So loose, loose. Okay, push them down. All right, let's see what you think. I'm gonna let you do judgment call on this one too. Tight, loose, whatever.
Super tight.
See the trend.
This one's actually a little on the loose side.
I shouldn't let you do it. That makes it confusing. When I'm just telling you tighter, looser, you gotta get the feel about it. Slip.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of like the pat your heads and rub your stomach kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a little jiggle test. Terrible. That's fucking terrible. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. So, your face.
Yeah.
Like I've ever liked that with you. Steph's a good sport. She's actually been doing, this isn't her. I'd like to say she doesn't work on motors, but this is, she's been in a couple before actually. So she's becoming quite a mechanic. So, all right, so those are good. And we can see here this intake's already down, so we just gotta let that one up until it lets off. Tight again, big shark.
This one's, the exhausts are loose for some reason, which is weird.
The specs vary a little bit too when you look online. They're usually a range. Some engines are,
Dog hair.
I should have started with that. Some engines have a spec range, and I think this one does. I'm setting them to a hard spec, but usually they'll be like 13 to 15,000. And so what you try to do is obviously set them at 14. So what I would do is give you more leeway each side. Is your cheater bar if you need. Other end, closed end to open. There you go. You want to think about how that's gonna, so that would tighten. Yep, spin it. Just keep spinning it. Just keep spinning it. There you go, like that. Watch that end. Yeah, there's a little bit to it. There you go.
I think it feels good, but
Let's see. I'll be the judge of that. That's what you get. Yeah, feels good. Okay. So, what do you think, hon? Scary stuff?
no, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, this video is just for anyone who wants to try. I'd like to say if she can do it, anyone can, but that's actually not true. She's pretty good at this stuff, but this was her first time doing it. So I'd say for someone who's somewhat mechanically inclined, I mean, hell, if you own a boat and nobody's mechanically inclined, give it a shot, right? But always better set a little loose in my book, because you'll get a little rattle, tight, causes your valve to hang a little, you know, and you don't want your valve to hang. You'd rather it be loose, and you'll get a little rattle, but diesels rattle like crazy anyway, so if you've got an old diesel like this, you probably wouldn't know the difference. All the valves done. What do you think? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Cool.
I actually enjoyed that.
So yeah, see? She actually enjoyed it. I do not. I've done it so many times. I don't enjoy it at all. So
Hi, Daddy.
if I teach, hey bud, if I teach her how to do it, then she'll enjoy some of these boat maintenance, and maybe I will get a break. So all right, at this point, I'm going to put the valve cover back on. There's nothing real exciting in there. Yeah, if you guys have any comments, questions below, or I don't know if these like routine stuff would be any interest to people. I know a lot of people do their own work, but I think there's more and more people getting into boating who've never owned boats or done any maintenance on it, and that's great. You know, I mean, I think that's awesome, but respect for just jumping on a boat and doing that. But if you are one of those people, I don't think there's any shame in you doing it, as long as you do your homework and stuff. So if there's other videos people want to see, like little instructionals, like full-blown take my time instructional videos, comment below. I mean, I have no problem doing them. I just don't know if there's any interest out there doing it, or I'll have Steph do them, because better than looking at my mug all day. So if you want to do something like that, or anyone's interested, comment below. Figure just do this for fun. Follow me around on a day in the boat. So all right, bye. I just sitting there thinking I wanted to just bail the boat out.